Rappers that killed their careers. Part 2. This is a story about how some of the biggest names in hip-hop didn't lose their careers because of bad music or changing trends, but because of decisions that changed how the world saw them. And as you read this, consider one question. What happens when an artist's actions become impossible to separate from their music? At first, it might seem like controversy is survivable. Hip-hop has always embraced it. But what happens when controversy turns into something much bigger? Consider Kanye West. For years, Kanye wasn't just a rapper, he was one of the most influential figures in music, fashion, and culture. He built a billion-dollar Yeezy brand with Adidas. He released multiple classic albums. He shaped the sound of an entire generation. But in 2022, everything changed. It started with a series of social media posts where he said he was going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Then came interviews, like one on Drink Champs, where he repeated anti-Semitic claims and doubled down instead of apologizing. And it escalated even further during later appearances where he openly praised extremist figures. Now look at what followed. Adidas ended its partnership, immediately cutting off his most valuable business deal. Other brands like Balenciaga and Gap distanced themselves. His talent agency dropped him. His net worth reportedly dropped by billions. Now ask yourself, was it the initial comment that caused the damage, or the refusal to take it back? Because this wasn't one mistake. It became a pattern that kept intensifying. Now consider a completely different situation, one where the issue wasn't what was said, but what was allegedly done. Look at YNW Melly. Melly was rising fast. His song Murder on My Mind went viral, and ironically, its lyrics described violent thoughts in a way that blurred storytelling and reality. Then in 2019, he was arrested and charged with the murders of two of his close friends, YNW Juvie and YNW Sackchaser. Prosecutors claim that the shootings were staged to look like a drive-by. Evidence, including phone data and forensics, suggested the shots came from inside the car. He and another associate allegedly attempted to cover it up. Now think about that. When an artist builds a brand around violence in their music, what happens when real life mirrors that image? Because this wasn't controversy. This was a capital murder case. And regardless of fan support, the situation fundamentally changed his career trajectory. Now let's take it even further. What happens when allegations follow someone for years, but only collapse their career later? Consider R. Kelly. For decades, R. Kelly was one of the biggest names in music. He had hit records, industry respect, and long-term success. But allegations of abuse and exploitation had been surrounding him since the early 2000s. For years, those accusations didn't fully stop his career. He continued releasing music. He continued performing. But everything changed in 2019 with the release of the documentary Surviving R. Kelly. The documentary compiled testimonies from multiple women, detailing patterns of manipulation, control, and abuse. Public perception shifted rapidly. Then came the legal consequences. He was later convicted on federal charges including racketeering and sex trafficking, with evidence showing a system that targeted and exploited young women. Now ask yourself, why did it take nearly 2 decades for his career to fully collapse? Because sometimes it's not the accusations alone. It's the moment the audience decides to believe them. Now consider a different kind of downfall, one driven by behavior that never fully stabilizes. Look at Blueface. Blueface rose quickly with his hit Thosiana. But instead of building on that momentum through music, his public image became dominated by controversy. There were multiple incidents: arrests related to firearm charges, a shooting incident in Las Vegas tied to a dispute outside a club, ongoing public conflicts with people in his personal life, often broadcast online. And over time, the focus shifted. Less about music, more about drama. Now ask yourself, at what point does attention stop being promotion and start becoming distraction? Because he didn't disappear. He stayed visible. But the credibility that drives long-term success started to fade. Let's step back. At first, these cases seem completely different. Repeated public statements that escalated into global backlash. A criminal case involving serious allegations. Long-term abuse claims that eventually led to conviction. Ongoing behavior that overshadowed the music itself. But they all point to the same thing. Careers in hip-hop aren't just built on success. They're built on alignment. Alignment between image and actions, persona and reality, music and behavior. And when that alignment breaks, everything becomes harder to defend. So now we're left with a deeper question. Is a career destroyed by the decision itself, or by the moment people stop defending it? Because in hip-hop, fans don't just listen, they believe. And once that belief disappears, the music isn't always enough to bring it back.